spectrum of activities and events around and about us. We have with us in the studio this morning someone who until Monday was the chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State. Yes, you probably have heard for about 6 years. You've heard of him, and we've had him quite around and robustly committed to development and engagement in the state, not just about Christianity. He is a fellow Institute of Policy Management Development. Dr. Ndueso Ekwere is with us. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
It feels so good to have you on Centerpoint. It looks like this would be the first time your first public outing since after exiting office as CAN chairman.
You're right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
much. Really, it's amazing to have someone leave office and is so strong to carry on a couple of other tasks, and quite like it was strategically structured. But perhaps you also had plans on what should become for you the next line of actions. So what will you be doing now that you've exited office as CAN chairman?
Thank you very much. I've been a clergy all along. It is from the clerical circle that God decided to choose me among the people to lead the entire Christians in Akwa Ibom State. I've been a preacher of the word, and as I retire from CAN duties, generally I'll go back to preaching the word. As far as I'm concerned, that has been my calling, and it is my calling. I want to believe God that has been with me will continue to be with me. The important thing is to bring the flock of God to the Lord and show them the way to heaven.
Interesting. So let's now look at CAN. At your exit as the state chairman of CAN, does it mean you're completely disengaging from that structure, or what role would you now be playing?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, ecumenism is something that is worth the while. Any Christian is supposed to be involved in ecumenism, an interfaith relationship with other denominations, and knowing what is happening in the Christian world as far as our country and even the world is concerned. And so I am still in CAN now as a member, and perhaps as a consultant I may call myself, because having sat there for 6 good years and with all the experience God has bestowed us with, I think I'm qualified to be consulted if they like, to be asked of a few things. But I cannot say I will disengage myself completely, except that I am not into the core administration of CAN. I've stepped out, and the onus is on the people that have been elected to go on with the center administration of CAN. Notwithstanding, we'll be at the periphery to continue to help and guide, particularly if they need the guide.
Well, talking about consultancy, I hope CAN is rich enough to pay the consultancy fee.
Yeah, well, it depends on how you interpret the consultancy. Consultancy can be just
can be pro bono.
Yes. It can be honorary, it can be professionally, but in this case, we can sit down and give advice. It's still consultancy, provided they come to you.
Okay, so in 6 years, you sat at the helm of affair as the chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State, and it looks like the last 6 years has seen so much happen into religious conflicts, tensions among religious organizations, and all of that. So, tell us about your experience in the last 6 years as CAN chairman.
Thank you very much. Not only in Akwa Ibom State, it's been like that all through the country, conflicts here and there, and particularly what the other religions are doing, persecuting Christians here and there, killing and burning, like the recent one. There has been conflict like that, and Akwa Ibom State is a part of the country, and as far as human beings are concerned, you still have some envy, some forms of envy, some biases, some jealousies and all that, which is why the gospel has to be preached continuously and continually. So but by the grace of God, Akwa Ibom State has stood out as one of the most peaceful states in this country, and I have a lot of people come to me as I was exiting office. Now that you are leaving, who is coming in? We've enjoyed the whole 6 years, and all the time there has been peace, good relationship with the government and the Christians. There has not been any problem. So comparatively, I would say it's been peace altogether, because if you are in the world, there certainly has to be some issues, but the onus is how you overcome it, how you overcome such issues and come out victorious. So I want to thank God, who has given us the ability, the grace to overcome all the conflicts so far, and we have come out unscathed, even the entire Christendom. As I have left Can, I have left Can as the Christianity in the state as a whole body, and that's a plus. I want to thank God for how it has gone, how it has been, and the height God has raised us up to.
Okay, so we come by tales of animosity between among Christian denominations, where a particular Christian denomination acts in some discriminatory manner against another. In Can, as Can chairman in the last 6 years, we noticed some seeming closure of that gulf of discrimination. How were you able to achieve that?
Like I have said, it is like the government of His Excellency Udo Emmanuel would always say, it's only God. I can attribute the whole thing to God. You see, like I have said, it behoves the leader to be patient and contain issues as they come, and you keep looking at them, and those you are supposed to react, you react. You know how you react, and to where you are reacting. And before you know it, you close the gap, and that is why you have seen, even though animosity, discriminations, all the talks and whatever envies have arisen, God has given us the grace to still overcome them and bring people together, and we've been moving on one direction.
In the Christian fold, razzmatazz is still a big problem, a big issue. You get to see religious houses open here and there. You get to see people lay claims to certain miracles, and at the end of the day, some persons feel that the church hasn't done enough at controlling the activities of those people who are given to razzmatazz. In 6 years, why were you not able to stem the type of razzmatazz in the Christendom?
There is certainly no way we can take complete control of that, because the constitution of the country gives room for freedom of worship, and to that extent people exploit that loophole and keep opening religious houses here and there and claiming to perform miracles. And of course it is biblical that at the end of time like this, the people will rise up and keep saying, God is here, come and see the Lord is there, whereas it is not correct. It is for the people to decipher whether truly it is the Spirit of God that is speaking and all that. You see, a lot of people have, probably because of joblessness or so, they have now come into opening churches as of merchandise, and everybody wants to become a pastor, and you cannot just regulate it directly, except the blocks. We have 5 blocks in Can: the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, the Christian Council of Nigeria, the Christian Pentecostal Fellowship, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, the Organization of African Instituted Churches, which is the OIC, and the Akwa block. These are the 5 blocks. It is within the blocks that they can try to, at least in forms of registering those new ones that are coming up. They will say, how do you come? How did you begin? What's your foundation? Let's know everything about you before we can register you. That way, they may be able to control a little. CAN does not deal with denominations per se. CAN deals with blocks. And so whatever the block brings to CAN now takes it, because there is no specific rule or law in CAN as to how you regulate a church that comes up, except in the blocks. So that is the issue. I want to emphasize that it is greed that has really brought about what is happening, because you see a lot of people open churches and sacrifice and kill people even right there in the name of having blossom of miracles here and there. But the Lord knows those that belong to Him.
Well, the Lord knows those that belong to Him, and okay. So it's still keeping to that, and the consciousness of how much disrepute this has brought Christianity. I'm sure that not only in Akwa Ibom, across the country, and CAN should be holding some conversations towards stemming this tide. But let's now look at, it's a political season, sir, and we also understand this girl of prophecies. So you get to hear people talk and prophesy who will be governor, who will be president, and all of that. Is there also no, and some of those people even happen to be registered members of your organization. Are there no ways you could stem the proclamation of this kind of such proclamations? Because in the long run, they appear not to even be healthy to the political system and even the society at large.
Thank you very much. It's like a second part of what I just said now. Freedom of worship and freedom of press or speech. Freedom of speech in the country, in the constitution of the country. And so everybody rises up and wants to speak. And it's difficult for you to go and say stop speaking, except for some sensitization that we keep doing. We keep preaching and telling people, you don't just talk, you don't just say anything like that. Yet there's no way you can carry gun or carry a whip to whip somebody. Don't say what you're saying. A lot of people even speak what they speak out of ego. They think because they are called so and so title, one big title, and so they are free to just talk, even if they have to talk nonsense. They will talk and deceive a lot of people, and people get believing. We also thank God for the fact that government also has some regulations to be able to, if somebody is speaking what is not correct, what is false, what he cannot prove, government can also call such a person to order. That is why we work in tandem with the government, because actually it is not healthy. You see people rise up and keep prophesying, if it is prophecy, prophesying in quote, and saying a lot of things. Who is that? The Bible says, who is he that will speak and it comes to pass if it is not God? And so when they keep saying this one will be the governor, this one will be the governor, is that the mind of Christ? All I know is that whoever God wants to be, that is the person that will be, irrespective of whatever anybody is saying.
Okay, sir. So we also understand that one of the biggest fights you had in your tenure as CAN president was when you had to stand against federal government's plans to institutionalize what at that point was called CAPA, the CAPA Act. And it looks like it was generally...
You mean the CAMA?
The CAMA Act,
yes.
Sorry. Yeah, the CAMA Act. It looks like CAN was completely averse to it, even when people felt that was a way the churches could be brought to account. Months after that, how far would that struggle?
The struggle continues. We are in court already as far as that is concerned. And by the grace of God, we are having a leeway into the whole thing. It's not actually that they wanted the church to maybe be held accountable or for the sake of accountability. It was a way of gagging the church. It was a way of making sure the church does not grow, the church does not spread, the church does not have her freedom. It was a way of making sure government now controls everything in the church, and if it by any mistake government will take over that church and will be appointing the trustees of the church. It has never been. If that thing had been allowed to stand, then before you know it, the church would have even been wiped away. The people who initiated the thing knew exactly what they were gunning at. But for today, by the grace of God, things are getting better gradually, and we are very confident that at the end of the day, the church will have her way.
Well, on the news, we had your successor, the Bishop, Chris Nyom, speak glowingly about your level of tolerance and patience as chairman. In all of this, so before someone talks about, could glowingly applaud you for being tolerant and patient, it means that so much could have happened at the time that you either swept under the carpet or looked away from. What were these things?
Thank you very much. A lot of things that happen in church are not meant for public consumption. You see, a family, like a father who has children, it's not everything that the child does that he comes announcing to the public. Once he's able to tolerate, to accommodate, to stem the tide of the whole thing, all what he wants the public to hear is the success of his family. And so, like I have said, you cannot have a whole Akwa Ibom State is about 7 million or so people, and there is no way, and we keep saying Akwa Ibom State is about 99.9% Christians. And so it means that Akwa Ibom State is almost about almost 7 million Christians, so to say. And there is no way those people can stay without having differences here and there, because people have different ideologies to bring about. And so to sit down and begin to say this is what they did, but generally, like I have said, there have been satisfactions, dissatisfactions, acrimonies, envies, and evil talks, like the Bible has said. These things have to come. And all you need to do as a seasoned leader, as a Christian, is to tolerate them and allow them to go. Most of the things they say, if you want to go picking them, you may be not only hurting the Christian, you'll hurt your life. And so you keep allowing them to go. To that extent, any right-thinking person like the incoming chairman, the chairman that has just come in, can say what he said, that there has been a lot, because he also watched from outside, so to say. So the kind of patience, the kind of tolerance, the kind of accommodation that we had. And by the grace of God, we have come up to this point.
Okay, so let's talk about your achievements in 6 years as CAN chairman.
Yeah, thank you very much. As chairman of CAN, I had said, even like we have left, it could be said here and now that we've not left a large pause at all. And there cannot be a physical achievement in any organization without money. We didn't have money in that administration. A lot of people believe, probably from antecedent, that CAN is synonymous with money. I thank God for such belief, but at times it's a false belief. We didn't have money, and we had thought of building the CAN secretariat where the government has given us land. We came in and we surveyed the whole place. There was no survey plan. We have surveyed the whole place. We have registered the whole place. We have brought out architectural plan of the place. We mapped out everything, but you cannot start that kind of thing without actually having enough funds. But we have developed the office that we are presently to the tests that can be called an office. We came in and the office was completely naked, so to say. But by the grace of God, today, as we had left, somebody can go into the office, CAN office that we are operating today, and say, sure, this is an office. And apart from that, the peace that is in the state among Christians, like we have said, is still a major achievement, because apart from the maintained peace, that is why CAN has said that we key into the maintained peace movement that is operating in the state, because that is the core thing that can even bring every other achievement. And so we came in, we joined with the government. We have been doing solemn assemblies here and there, praying with the government, praying for the land. And I can say throughout our tenure, Akwa Ibom State has been rated one of the best states in attendance of meetings and contribution to the national and zonal, as we have left. We have left by the grace of God with no indebtedness to the national CAN, and that has not been the case, and that is courtesy of His Excellency the Governor, who actually helped us to become such acclaimed CAN branch in the country. So lots of things. It's not a question of counting and enumerating on papers, but each time I give speech, we also mention, even as I gave my valedictory speech on the 27th of March, I made mention of the few things that God has helped us to achieve, and that has been wonderful, and it will lay as a point of history as we go along in this administration.
Well, you just mentioned that Akwa Ibom is one of the states that is actively involved with CAN at the national level, and that there's no level of indebtedness. But beyond financial involvement, how much of the Akwa Ibom interest does the CAN at the national level carry with it? We understand since we last had Prelate Sunday Bang, and it looks like we've not had any Akwa Ibom person play big in that space.
Yes, Akwa Ibom person will play big if people key into a ecumenical world. This is a problem with Akwa Ibom, is that most of the churches, they circulate just around the denominations, struggle like this thing we are talking about, only thinking of the miracles of what they can do at their own level. People do not, even in their churches, local churches, you will be shouting, people don't want even to belong to CAN, talk less of their local blocks. You cannot just rise up and become something at the national if you do not become something at your block. And so the problem is, what's the interest? People are so laissez-faire. People are just not interested in going up. They are looking for how to make that big denominations, big churches, expand churches like a football field and all that, and do whatsoever. But go to the national. You see, like in this state, for the 6 years, you hardly could see most of the big time evangelists, pastors, archbishops, and all that get involved in CAN, not even at the local government level, talk less of coming, and that is how they will come up. There is no way they can be picked from where they are to become something at the national. But by the grace of God, we are going. Like in my administration that just finished, the legal director of State CAN, Barrister Victor Okman, was not too long ago selected as the assistant legal director national. To that extent, at least I can say that's one of the achievements of CAN in Akwa Ibom State during my administration, and like that we are going gradually.
Okay, you are reputed to have actively collaborated with the Akwa Ibom State government in your tenure as CAN chairman. This collaboration was so strong that at some point people thought CAN as an arm of the Akwa Ibom State government. Now, what informed this level of partnership?
Thank you very much. That's an intelligent question. You see, as a Christian, let's begin from there. You don't just begin to oppose what is not opposable, so to say. If, for instance, God has given us a governor that is Christian-minded, that is a Christian himself, that takes the church to a higher level, such a high level, and always talks about God, and you can see, even as you are, that Akwa Ibom State is more or less a church. And so most of the things the state does are in line with the gospel. And so CAN would not just rise up and begin to oppose government and begin to criticize government where there was no need. And so to that extent, all what we needed to do was to pray along with government and advise government. As at times we do it privately, we do it one-on-one, we discuss, we mention a few things that maybe if they do it, it will go along to help the state, and not actually go out in broad daylight or in the public and begin to attack the government, that does not give health to the government. Neither would it give any good name to CAN. A lot of people believe that the purpose of CAN is to attack government or oppose and make people know that CAN is we are not a pressure group, so to say. We are not an opposition party. We are Christians that are supposed to support, that are supposed to pray for the government. That's why we were at the point that you are talking about, that people say, and we are glad that we were like that.
Interesting. Let me take you back to what has been the situation with our recent history. We've had people leave office as CAN chairman to float organizations that are also faith-based. Now that you're done with CAN, are you looking at forming a group that could be viewed as a splinter group?
Throughout my tenure, I was averse to splinter groups because the most of the intent were not to actually foster the growth of government or the growth of Christianity, but some of those intents were selfish, just to polarize CAN, just to make sure CAN will not have a good name. But by the grace of God, we stood the test of time, and it went. And so I cannot see myself come out and begin to. You see, it's not done anywhere. It is in Akwa Ibom State that you have all these names here and there for whatever reason. I have been averse to it, and what I vomit, I cannot eat. That is, as far as that is concerned. That does not mean that wherever Christians gather for a purpose that is properly defined, a purpose that is godly, that we may not find ourselves there, but not to make sure we find a parallel. We found a parallel group to CAN. Once there is CAN, there may not be other organizations like that, except anything that if you want to form an organization, you should now ask CAN to give you an approval to join hands with you, and CAN should examine to see if that formation is not going to be against the interests of CAN. To that extent, once there is an agreement, that they can go smoothly. But what I witnessed throughout my stay, in most cases, they were not wonderful.
They were not wonderful, and we're sure you wouldn't want to tow that path. Okay, so let's look at in the strength of the collaboration you had with government, and especially the administration of Governor Dumi Manuel, as it were. How would you rate the performance of this current governor? You were close as CAN chairman. You were close enough to be to have a say or a voice in some of his policies. How well has the government performed?
Thank you very much. That question is divine, because as I was coming, I heard people talk over the radio. I think it was this same station also, in the car, and people were criticizing government badly. And what was even annoying is that people will begin to come out and attack government with very terrible grammar and all that, not even minding that what they are coming out to the public, they just mind how to destroy, not even how they present themselves. And somebody was saying, even this Ibom A that they are talking about, what is the profit that it has brought? How far is the profit that it has brought to Akwa Ibom State? And all that. I was so irritated. I was saying, I wish I have the number of these people in the studio right now that I would key in and reply. But God also probably made it that I didn't have the number because I wouldn't have been. You see, if a government has achieved the much it has achieved, as we have seen, road infrastructure, there is no government that can do everything on earth. That is why government is a continuum. That's the government. That is why government, like we are talking about, they are looking for a successor, so that what remained, that successor should come and do. But if government has achieved the kind of achievement the government of Dumi Manuel has achieved, I think we should also encourage him. We should applaud him. The roads, the industries, even if those industries do not perform to full capacity today, the issue is it has begun. And tomorrow, anybody that is coming will continue from where he stopped. Even if Ibom Air does not bring all the profit on earth, but see us stepping to you now, the airport, and before you know it, we can go to any part of the country, which has not been. Other people are even envying. The entire country is talking about this achievement, and yet we are sitting here to criticize. I want to say that in talk of Ibom Deep Sea Port, if all those teething problems had allowed, by now it would have been history that the thing has gone so much in progress. You see, where are you going? I have traveled around this country, and I have found that Akwa Ibom State has about the best network of road. And who are we to achieve that? A lot of other things that we have, car assembly plant that we're talking about and all that. You see, at times you sit down to count the achievements of Governor Udo Emmanuel, and you fail somewhere. Why do you fail? Because you forget them. You forget them along the way. You know. So as far as I'm concerned, this government has achieved a lot. In terms of school, this year, how much have they paid to students that are taking examinations? Much money. This government could have as well stopped when they took over from the former government, that they can't sponsor children again, free education and all that, but they continued. It's still credited to this government.
Okay, so sometimes people feel that Khan isn't emboldened enough to face some of, to squarely talk about some of the happenings in the country. Recently, we came by the sad tales of the killing of Deborah Samuel, who was killed in Sokoto for religious reasons. Deborah Emmanuel. And incidentally, we saw Khan make plans to stage a national demonstration against that killing. And the government at some quarters came outlawing religious such religious demonstrations and all of that, and Khan immediately recanted to having those protests hold in their secretariat. Does it mean that the church has been so gagged as to the level of not being able to express itself?
I would say that never in the history of Khan has Khan nationwide been as bold as this present administration of Khan. But there is nothing one can do that will avoid criticism. There's nothing. You see, if, for instance, everywhere in the country such protest was done, even at the secretariat, as they were said, or in churches, I think it's enough an impact. There is no way. Khan does not have the weapons of warfare. You see, this country has become so brutal against Christians. And the same people who are criticizing now, even if Khan was, according to them, bold to go out and damn the consequence of government's instructions, and those Christians would be killed with the gun and all that, the same people will say, but why did the Christians too, that will say, why did they even defy the orders of government? Did they have guns? They should have stopped that thing. After all, what are they doing? What they are doing is not going to bring back Deborah. The same Christians, because we are so divisive, and all what we are good at is talking. The people who even criticize are not even bold to join Khan for a start. They will sit down and keep talking. Khan has said what they, in fact, even from the beginning, not even to say let it be the all-round protest, they had said do it at your churches. And if government comes out and says they are going to kill everybody, government says this should stop. Don't do it, don't do it. And they still could stand and say let us go ahead and do it at the secretariat. I think that's enough show of boldness. All what we know is that government has heard that we have protested. Government has heard that it's not been a wonderful thing to kill just anyhow the way they have done. So there's nothing one will do that people will not talk.
Okay, still on the spate of religious killings in the country, Leah Sharibu is still yet to return to her family, and it looks like there's still so much of this persecution, especially in northern Nigeria. What is Khan doing to protect Christians in these highly persecuted areas?
One of the things Khan is doing to stop this is asking every Christian to rise up, pick their voters card, make sure they are registered, and vote Christians to power. That is the principle and the major thing. But as we see, Christians who are supposed to vote, they will still go and vote Muslims. They will still go out and vote these people who will come out and suppress us, oppress us, and kill us. It is time. The major thing now is Christians should make sure they vote Christians, responsible Christians, not money Christians, not greedy Christians, not people who will go out and sell out Christianity. People who are seasoned, they go out, vote them, and bring them in. It's a way of stopping what is happening today. But even at the moment, Khan is still preaching and shouting and calling on foreign countries to come help Christians in this country. That is even why, if there was no Khan, I want to bet you, my brother, terrible things, more terrible things would have happened in this country. I don't think even as we are sitting down talking, we could have had the privilege of sitting down and talking if Khan was not a speaking Khan.
Okay, Khan as a speaking Khan has, according to you, done risen to the occasion and on several accounts come to the aid of Nigerians, not just Christians. But let's now get into talking about the Reverend Ndueso Ekwere. People think you a disciplinarian. People think you a no-nonsense fellow. But your successor says you're tolerant and patient. Let's know, who is Dr. Ndueso Ekwere?
Dr. Ndueso Ekwere is all what you have said people say. As far as what you have said now, that people say is a no-nonsense person. People say is a disciplinarian. People say is tolerant. People say is patient. You know, what I'm saying now is Dr. Ndueso Ekwere was born into a very strict, disciplined family. My father was a no-nonsense man. My father was very strict in discipline, and he trained us that way. And there was no way we could just maybe leave the tenets of our family and begin to go haywire. I came on to see, I grew up to discover that anything outside discipline is a failure. Anything you do not have, do not bring discipline in. In fact, God even began by keeping things in order. Let there be, let there be, let there be, let there be, and those things were kept in order. He didn't just allow everything to move anyhow. And that began discipline itself. But today's world does not want orderliness. Today's world does not want discipline. Even in the church, every church, so to say, most churches, let me not say every church, most churches, they just do anything. And that is why most times I am not even popular, and I do not want to be. Because people want anybody who talks with the two sides of his mouth. That is one thing I cannot do, and I will never do it. You know, people, there are cases now that people say, you see, like people, you see people dress just anyhow. You see how you are dressed, very lovely gentleman, decent and neat. You get out somewhere and your family is proud of you, than coming out like a madman, just moving anyhow. And people really hail them. And you begin to think, even in the church, why won't people appear properly? Has God become like this now? You came from a background that people were better dressed, both men and women. They will sing songs and hymns that make meaning. Songs and hymns that people will be crying as they listen to. Today is just anything, and people keep clapping and jumping around. These kind of things are terrible. And these are things I cannot easily key in. And people don't want to see it along with some of us, but I do not mind. As far as I'm concerned, God is a God of discipline. And the other issue is, even at that, before I will come out and begin to shout against something, I will tolerate. That's the aspect of patience. Now, I will tolerate, I will warn, I will advise, I will make sure I bring the person to good knowledge of what is good. But where the person thinks he cannot, then I will announce to him that what you are doing is not of any beauty. You should come out of it. So that is the kind of thing I love. By the grace of God, I give. I have the grace. The little I have to give. I have to bring people around. But people, when they see the discipline and orderliness in me, they begin to be afraid that because the world is now shattered. So the world will not want to get close to a place that will like to keep them in check.
Okay, the world would love to get close to where they would be kept in check. But let me ask, as we begin to wind down the session, Dr. Ndueso Ekwere, it was in the plans and in the policy plans of CAN to ensure that peace in Akwa Ibom is sustained, that Akwa Ibom comes through as a very peaceful state in Nigeria. And it looks like politicians cashed in on the CAN model of peace when the Maintain Peace movement was inaugurated in the state. Months after that, we've realized that someone emerging from that platform of Maintain Peace movement is contesting for the governorship of the state, and that would be Pastor Umo Eno, who came from the platform of Maintain Peace movement and all of that. The plan is to sustain the peace and promote prosperity in the state. What is your position as CAN chairman, now having stepped out of CAN? What is your position on this very aspiration?
You see, I had said earlier, we cannot compromise peace. So anything that stands for peace is good. And anything that emerges from peace is good. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever, you see, the Bible says, like Jesus said, my peace I give unto you, not like the world gives. You see, if God has given us peace, we must embrace the peace. Whatever stands for peace, whoever stands for peace, excuse me, whoever stands for peace, that's what I encourage, and that is what the whole state should also encourage. As far as I'm concerned, the will of God for this state will stand. As CAN chairman, that's what we preached. As an individual, that's what we are talking about. And so I want to believe that the peace that God has given to this state, that's what will stand and that's what will continue.
Okay, peace God has given to this state will stand and continue even now that Dr. Ndueso Ekwere has exited the stage as chairman CAN Akwa Ibom State. But let's talk about the new executive council of CAN and what informed these decisions is the Dr. Chris Young, Bishop Chris Young, the person you preferred as a successor. How did the process that how was the process that brought him to be?
You see, it's not the issue of preference of Nigeria, which is the bloc I belong. The next one is CPFN, Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, stroke Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. It makes it one block. Now the other one is Organization of African Instituted Churches, OAIC. The last one is, last not the least, is Akwa. Tekan is the Hausa kind of name and is very long. The Akwa is the evangelical church winning all as it is. And so I came in, I discovered that there was a little disorder in that arrangement. And so having come, I discovered that CSN had a chairman, CPFN had their chairman when they had, and CCN has had their chairman. I discovered that the first three have had their chairman. I decided that somebody that will succeed me must come from the next block to make the sequence proper and for orderliness, so there wouldn't be any struggle any longer. Therefore, it was up for the OAIC. It is blocks that choose their candidate and then give to CAN generally to elect, to screen and elect. So OAIC was the block. Even the constitution of CAN, as we operate today, permits that the next block sequentially should come up. And so I did say it is the OIC that should produce the next CAN chairman, and was so agreed. Thank God, when the new constitution was amended last year, it also echoed what we have said. And so we asked the bloc to produce the chairmanship candidate. And of course, the bloc produced, and they gave it to electoral committee that screened. They screened and came up with the name of Chris Young as the preferred candidate from the electoral committee. And so the national region of OAIC also gave a letter saying that Chris Young is accepted, is nominated for the job. He was screened, and that's how we presented him to the generality of the blocks, and the block said he can go, and that's it. And of course, Chris Young has been in the very scene of the thing. He has been an active person in CAN up till now, and we also are happy, believing that God will help him to perform.
Wow, quite a peaceful and seamless process. You've elaborated there, but also, what are your advice for your pieces of advice for this new executive of CAN?
Thank you. Like I said on the day of the election, I told them they should make sure they look unto God, who is the author and the finisher of their faith. I told them they should be guided properly. They should consult widely and properly. And apart from that, they should make sure they cooperate with government where it is necessary. And so they should also advise government where it is necessary. All the whole, they should make sure the peace that they have inherited is maintained.
Wow, the peace, they had better really maintained that peace, because we've seen quite a very peaceful CAN under you. Okay, as we wind down, sir, other challenges, other things, other decisions you took as CAN chairman that out of office you wish you had not taken them?
I can't really say. I know that I had tolerated a lot of things. And at times people even say, why must you accommodate? You should have spoken out, you should fight. But I can't regret those things, because I see that even as we are talking about the peaceful transition now, if I did not tolerate those things, a lot of things would have happened. And so I don't have any cause to regret, but I have every cause to say thank you, Jesus, because I came out healthy and I have gone out healthy. I came out in peace, I have gone out in peace, irrespective of however and whatsoever people may think and say. So I want to thank God. My family is intact, the state is intact, and all that. I want to tell the state thank you for cooperating with me and with the CAN administration that has just exited. I want to thank His Excellency, the Governor, who has been with us and has carried us along, and we have been with him. I want to say that the Lord that brought us in and took us out at the appointed time in a proper way will also continue with the state at the incoming CAN.
Wow. Okay, so from us on Centerpoint, we'll be saying a very big congratulations to Dr. Ndueso Ekwere, and I'm hoping that in or out of CAN, we'll continue to have his deep insights on national and state issues. And of course, we should trust that now you're out of CAN, you would have more time to be coming around Centerpoint. Thank you so much for being part of our programs today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I must leave my last word as of gratitude to AKBC, both radio and television. In fact, to the DG of this organization. You've been wonderful. You've cooperated with us. All your staff have been so good, so cordial, I want to ask the blessings of God upon you. It shall be well with you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndueso Ekwere. When Center Point returns, we will be continuing with the rest of the day's broadcast. Don't go away.